What's the big idea behind this weekend's gathering in Belfast of civic and political nationalism? The organisers say it's a response to the building frustration with Brexit and its potential consequences. But in an Irish news column this week, Tom Kelly dismissed it as a collective gurn by nationalists who are failing to reach out to unionists. He's with me now alongside the columnist Andree Murphy, who's taking part in the event. Welcome to you both. Andree, first of all, what is the big idea?
Well, I think that there's two things coalescing at the same time within the conference, where you can see that there is an expression of the frustrations around Brexit, the diminishing of Irish citizenship rights that are threatened by Brexit, and then also this idea of what would Irish citizenship look like under a new Ireland, and how might we express that. So I think that those two things are coming together, probably caused by two major events over the past three years, with the collapse of the institutions under the feeling of people not being able to express their rights, particularly Irish cultural rights, and Irish citizenship not being able to express while devolution was in place, and then also Brexit and the chaos that's come around that.
Tom, you made your views crystal clear in Monday's Irish News. As I said there, you described it as a collective gurn on the part of nationalists. That kind of language won't win you any friends on Saturday.
Well, I won't be there on Saturday because I believe that you should be reaching out to people. I think that the essence of republicanism is in its concept of Catholic, Protestant and dissenter. The Irish flag is about reaching out to green and orange. The Constitution of Ireland talks about cherishing all the children equally. You can't do that if you have one-sided conversations. And the problem with this country, north and south, is that the institutions in those countries for a long time, because they only talked to themselves, intra-conversations, actually failed as democratic institutions in many ways, both in the Republic of Ireland right up until quite recently, and in Northern Ireland until Stormont was prorogued. So the reality is, unless you start shaping a country by talking to people on all sides and creating the type of society that you want for all people, it doesn't work. You only end up repeating the mistakes of the past.
So, Andree, why did the organisers not invite unionists to take part in this public discussion?
I don't think the organisers would disagree with anything that Tom has said, if I'm honest, but this conference is an opportunity for people to do what the whole aspiration toward Irish unity has been criticised by this idea that people don't know what they might be voting for, that there isn't actually a vision for what a new Ireland would be. So this is an opportunity for people to explicitly, between themselves who have a similar identity, being able to say, well, what are the rights that are under assault? How do Irish citizens define those? How do we see Irish citizenship being enhanced by the idea of Irish unity? And from there, actually having a vision that they can engage with unionism with, rather than being criticised that it isn't clear what Irish unity might look like.
But Andree, does it not leave you open to the possibility that Saturday will simply become an echo chamber? People in the room will be preaching to the converted.
Except that they won't, because there are very important issues that people need to understand and be able to tease out. So people do have different conceptions of what Irish citizenship actually meant under the Good Friday Agreement. And now that we have seen the principle of consent basically being undermined because, you know, the North did not vote for Brexit, and despite that, Brexit is being imposed. So there isn't a consent for that in the North. So that's been undermined. And I do think that there isn't a consensus around, you know, what Irish nationalism is actually asking for and what those asks are. And I think that can be teased out.
So that makes sense, doesn't it, Tom? I mean, nationalism needs to frame the debate, first of all, find a voice, and then reach out to
No, because we are facing a collective disaster through Brexit, which impacts on everyone, unionists, nationalists, non-aligned, whatever. If there is a demonstrable group who can be identified, who will be most affected by this, it'll be young people. If there was a conference in the Waterfront Hall full of young people talking about their future together, I would say this is a great idea. The reality is what people are doing is taking the Remain vote, and this really annoyed me from the morning after the Remain election, and appropriating the unionist aspect of that into another argument about the future of Ireland and Irish unity. And that was a huge mistake then, and it's a huge mistake now, because it's part of the reason why unionism is retreating to the trenches. They see nationalism acting in this partisan way, and it has a counter reaction. I think it would have been far better to try to engage with unionists who are trying to find a solution out of the Brexit problem alongside nationalists.
They don't share your view, excuse me, of what the Brexit problem is. I mean, a lot of unionists think that Brexit presents opportunities rather than difficulties.
Steve Aiken, Sylvia Herman. Sylvia Herman's been a one-man stormtrooper in it. And the reason that people are getting so frustrated, we're watching TV night after night where the DUP are on saying they represent the people of Northern Ireland, and everybody at home saying, no, you don't, because they're living in half constituencies which did not vote for a DUP person. And that's because we're not seeing people take them on in the House of Commons. It's just a reality of how people are dealing with the media.
Andree, let me ask you this question. There's a big challenge for the anti-Brexit nationalists, though, isn't there? The prospect of a hard border boosts the debate about a border poll. A soft Brexit is something that nationalists might be concerned about because, and that remains on the table at the moment, it would mean the challenges of a hard border disappear off the agenda.
Well, I don't think that's the case, because certainly what I'm hearing is that the very real challenges by Brexit are felt in a day-to-day way. So people certainly don't want to see a hard border and are not kind of nearly wishing it because it enhances any political position.
But if there is no hard border, if there's the softest of all possible Brexits, where there is alignment with the single market and the customs union, there is no hard border, there is no bogeyman, if you like, as far as nationalists would see it, then that big debate, that big conversation about the possibilities of a border pool, it just goes away. It melts.
Except it hasn't, because you also put into the frame the denial of rights, the denial of Irish citizenship under devolution, and even before the Brexit debate sharpened the way that it has, and the realisation of how much our citizenship rights were under threat under Brexit, we were already seeing that people were seeing their future on the island. So things like reproductive rights, equal marriage rights, those things happening on the island were being denied to people, Irish citizens as well as British citizens who all share this place. But they could have them if the country was united.
But the piquancy of that debate, the real edge to that debate, is the prospect of a hard border. You have to accept that.
Well, that's certainly in the mix, because that's certainly in what is happening at the moment. But I don't think that this new debate around what republicanism and what nationalism looks like is in any way diminished by what withdrawal agreement may come forward.
Do you accept that?
No, I struggle with this, because the reality is a lot of the issues that you're talking about are the direct fault that lie in Stormont. They've nothing to do with Brexit, they've nothing to do with the border. The fact is that we can't have an administration that will work together and deliver the kind of things like equal marriage that people want, and equality issues on identity. The fault lies with Stormont. The fault doesn't lie anywhere else. And this is the idea that we're throwing a stone anywhere else to see where it splashes. But the reality is we need the Stormont back up and running, and we need people to understand that it is co-run by nationalism and unionism. It is not the unionist playhouse.
If devolution cannot deliver rights, which it hasn't been able to do in 10 years and being in place, Westminster is absolutely not interested in ensuring that citizens here have equal rights, then people will very naturally look toward the option, which is completely legitimate and written into the Good Friday Agreement, for a consent-based united Ireland.
If there's another conversation like this in 2 months or 4 months or 6 months' time, is that the time to start reaching out to unionists potentially?
I think the reach out to unionists is happening anyway, and of course unionists are actively.
But it's not happening on Saturday, Andree.
Well, it's not. What's happening on Saturday is absolutely an attempt to ensure that we have a very mature and very honest debate about what a united Ireland will look like, particularly post-Brexit, but that includes unionism. OK,
Tom Kelly, quick final question to you as a former Vice Chair of the SDLP. What do you make of today's announcement of this new policy partnership between the SDLP and Fianna Fáil?
It falls short of what I would have looked for. I would have preferred a big bang approach to this. I don't think this is a graduate approach. I know loads of people who get engaged for long engagements and they don't get married, so I just don't know where this ends up. OK, we'll find out, I suppose, in due course. Tom Kelly, Andree Murphy, thank you both very much indeed for coming in to join us.